Hello everyone and welcome to a really remarkable game from the 22nd European Team Championship. It's the match Russia versus Germany, on board for Daniil Dubov versus Rasmus Svane, and we haven't had a game this good in a while, so I'm sure you're gonna enjoy it. A lot of you have requested it already, and it's not. I think it wasn't so long ago that Magnus Carlsen said that he's not easily inspired by anyone, but that he is inspired when it comes to chess by AlphaZero. Okay, everyone's inspired by AlphaZero, but also by the creativity of Daniil Dubov. So let's see what he meant by this. We have c4 by Dubov opening up with the English. We have e6, knight to c3, we have d5 and d4. So already transposing into the Queen's Gambit declined, knight to f6, we have knight to f3 and bishop to e7. Bishop to f4, pretty standard stuff. We have castles, e3 and b6 now, preparing to develop the light square bishop, queen to c2, and now bishop to a6. And here is already where things are getting interesting. This is a known position. There are no moves like knight to e5 is known, c captures, and d5 is known, offering a trade of light square bishops. b3 is known, just strengthening the c4 square, but here Dubov goes for queenside castles. So as of move 8 already we have a completely new game, so let's see what's the idea behind the queenside castle and why wasn't it played before, since it's only move 8. We have d captures on c4 by Rasmus, and now what did white gain? b5 is nicely protected, so black might even just go b5 b4 and start an attack on the queen side. But Dubov goes knight to g5, and okay, it's a move, definitely. Probably hoping for h6 and h4, and even though the engines will give that black has the advantage here, you don't want to face Dubov in a position like this, because if he played it, he probably has all of the variations worked out over the board. I mean, at home, and then you're just gonna burn a lot of your time, and if you play suboptimal moves, if you don't play perfect moves, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble very soon. So that's one of the ideas. The other idea is just ignore it, maybe start the attack with b5, b4, but Svane just continues development. Knight to c6, with ideas of maybe going knight to b4, harassing the queen a bit, so a3 by Dubov, preventing this, and now g6. And here h4, just continuing the attack on the king's side. And here you could go for knight to d5. It makes sense, puts pressure on the knight here, attacks the bishop on f4, but then you have to calculate knight captures on h7, and that's just an ugly move to calculate. For example, after king captures, you go h5. There's the pin here, so you are unable to capture here, and for example, after king moves, h captures, f captures, you run into bishop to h6, and it just doesn't look good for black. Even though it might be playable, you kind of think that Dubov had all of this already at home in his preparation. So bishop to d6 by Svane instead, now offering a trade of the bishops, and now comes g3. Saying that I don't mind this, I'm just gonna capture with the pawn here and push h5 later. We have queen to e7, developing the queen, now connecting rooks, and here Dubov just continues the attack. We have h5, and this is just going all out, full barbarian mode. Mikhail Tal would be proud. Of course, the pawn cannot be captured. You don't want to capture with the g-pawn, messing up your pawn structure, and if you capture with the knight, it's basically a free knight, since you cannot capture it due to queen captures on h7 mate. So h5 definitely a good move, and now Svane replies with e5. So what's happening here? First, h captures on g6. With h captures on g6, and now just a nice developing move, bishop to g2, trading bishop for a knight here, as the knight on c6 is undefended. We have e captures on f4, bishop captures on c6, attacking the rook, and here it's very difficult to actually save the rook. For example, if you try to move it, let's say rook a d8, you will run into a lot of trouble. After g captures on f4, white is now planning f5, and black doesn't have a good move. So pretty much any move you play here, it's a bad move. There are no useful moves for black here. It's just a beautiful position. For example, you might try king g7. If you can get rook to h8, you will probably be okay. But here, knight to d5. This is a theme in this game that black will constantly have to worry about. Point is, you want to get rid of the defender of the h7 square, which is the f6 knight. So after knight, you have to capture it. So after knight captures, you're just gonna go rook to h7 check, king to g8, and now you're gonna play rook captures on f7. So here, rook captures, queen captures on g6, king to f8, and now queen to h6 with check. Rook's gonna block, and now knight to h7 check. Just going all out here. King to g8, and now bishop captures on d5. Will come again with check, king to h8, and now, well, it's just a nice mate into knight to f8 check, a discovery from the queen, rook to h7 blocking, and now knight to g6 will be a nice smothered mate as the king has nowhere to go. The bishop covers g8. So just one of the lines that shows how difficult it is to actually save the rook. So here, Rasmus doesn't even try it. He plays f captures on g3, hoping to give up the exchange. After all, he will get a very nice pawn here. But Dubov plays a wonderful attacking move. He plays king to b1. King to b1 with the idea he wants to play f4, but he doesn't want to allow queen captures on e3 to come with check. So first king to b1. And now Svane goes rook a to d8. He tries to save the rook now, but it's still very difficult. We have f4 by white, and now bishop back to c8, just regrouping the defensive pieces. We have rook d to e1, now just defending the e3 pawn, and first king to g7. Now black is hoping for rook to h8, but of course, as soon as king to g7 is played, Dubov goes for knight to d5. With the same idea, you want to remove the defender of the h7 square, so knight captures on d5, and now rook to h7 with check. We have king to g8, and now rook captures on f7. So here is a very interesting moment in the game, because here black had the opportunity to defend properly. It's almost always when someone is attacking you with a crazy attack, there's always this one window of opportunity where you are able to defend, but it's never easy to find. So here, if you want to try it out, feel free to pause the video and try to find the best defensive resource for black. It's not easy, you know, if you want to. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations. This time it's a move with the knight forward. So this time it's knight to c3 check. And it's just one of those weird moves that actually saves black, because you will either deflect the queen from attacking the g6 pawn, which is crucial to the attack, or you will help white mess up his pawn structure, which will come in handy. For example, after b captures on c3, only now you capture here, and now after queen captures on g6 with check, king to f8, queen to 8, you don't get anything by trading here, you're down material, so queen h6 check, rook to g7 now, and now there is no knight on d5. So you could just play a slow move with bishop to d5, then black is able to regroup with bishop to f5 check, or you could go for knight to h7 check, king to f7, and now you don't have any good attacking moves left. If you go bishop d5, you can just escape here, it's not a problem. And if you try knight back to g5 to go for some sort of a perpetual, then rook captures will be sufficient. F captures, bishop to f5 check, e4, and queen to e6. Now, I know this is all crazy stuff to find over the board, but it was possible, you know, as it always is when there's a flashy attack going on. So here you either trade or you try something like queen h5 check, bishop g6 block, and you defend. You are up a piece. Okay, white still has a very scary center, but you are able to play this game. You have a fast pawn on g3, you can capture on a3. It's black who would be winning here if the game continued in this manner. But here, after rook captures on f7, Rasmus did not find knight to c3 check. He played rook captures on f7, and now it's a bit different. We have queen captures on g6 with check, king to f8, and now queen to h6 with check. We have rook to g7 blocking, and now bishop captures on d5. Now you have to grab the piece with bishop captures on d5. We have king to e8, now trying to use this square to escape. But now queen back to h5 with check. We have king to d7, and now queen to h3 with check. Here we have a repetition, king to e8, and now queen to h5 check, king to d7, and here Dubov does not want to repeat moves. He's not happy with a draw, so here he plays bishop to e6 check, and this is just well, this is just crazy. Here it's a beautiful moment, really a beautiful moment, because here there is only one good move for black, and it's actually queen captures on e6. You have to give up the queen here, knight captures, king captures, and after f5 check you go king to e7, and you continue playing this game where you would have rook and two bishops for a queen. So white would have a Easier game here due to the wide open king, but still, if you are able to get one good move in to consolidate your pieces, you should be okay here with black. However, black decided to play king to c6, and now we enter the position from the thumbnail, and here it's actually a forced mate in 13, and black isn't greedy for not giving up the queen. It's a forced mate in 13 with absolute perfect play from white. So white has a unique set of moves that allow you to mate in 13. It's just amazing stuff. If you want, feel free to pause the video. It's great for, you know, working on your calculation power if you want to find this mate in 13. So feel free to pause the video and try to find it while I give you a few seconds, or, you know, a minute or a half an hour. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations. I am awarding you a Morphy head, and also Dubov is being awarded a Morphy head, as this is just great stuff. So here, queen to f3 with check. You could also go queen to h1 check, but then black can prolong with g2. So queen to f3 is just faster if we're gonna go for the quickest possible mate. With king to b5, this is the only move. Now comes the only way to continue the attack. Bishop captures on c4 with check. And now, if you capture the bishop, then you allow queen c6 check, bishop blocks, and now rook to c1 with check. King to d3, and now you continue the attack. We have rook to c3 with check, king to e2, now queen g2 with check, king to d1 or e1 doesn't really matter, and rook to c1 will be checkmate. So after bishop to c4, you cannot capture the bishop. You have to go to a5 with king to a5, and now queen to d5 with check. Bishop to c5 blocking, and now b4 with check. The bishop cannot capture, so the king has to go down the board with king to a4, and now queen to g2. Again, a unique move threatening queen to c2 mate. So whoever found all of this from the start of king to c6 definitely deserves a Morphy head. With bishop captures on b4, now at least clearing the a5 square for the black king, but now queen back to c6 with check. Now if king a5, just queen b5 is mate, so you have to go down the board. King captures on a3, and now again another unique move you had to find all the way from that position is bishop to b3. And just to show you, for example, rook e2 followed by rook to a2 will be mate. Problem is black has, for example, bishop to d2. He will just slow down your attack, and once you capture, queen b4 check. Already black is now on the attack. For example, king c1 or c2. Now bishop to f5 with check. King to d1. Now you continue queen to a4 check. You are already able to trade queens, and now you just enjoy this position being up material and already having a pass pawn on g3. You have a pass pawn here. You can start pushing it. It's just winning for black. So here, bishop to b3, another unique move. Now threatens queen to a4 mate, and if king captures on b3, then it's just queen c2 check. King has to move, and queen to a2 will be mate. So after bishop to b3, we have bishop to d7. Bishop to f5 check is just met by e4, so it's not a problem. Bishop to d7 prevents queen to a4 mate, but now you get the other mate. Queen to c1 with check, now basically forcing black to capture the bishop. King captures on b3, and now queen to c2 with check. King to a3, and now followed by queen to a2 mate. So this all happened on the board, so I would also like to congratulate Svane for allowing mate to happen on the board, which is not something everyone would do. So really just amazing stuff looking at this king on a3. The king started his journey on g8 just to illustrate this, so it's really remarkable how the black king found himself on a3. And yeah, I do hope you agree that this game deserves a Morphy head, as is just it is a mate in 13 with the absolute best play from black. So maybe here it was the mate happened a bit sooner because black did not play all the optimal defensive resources. But if it's a force mate, it's a force mate. You're not going to get any points for making it last longer. But yeah, just a unique set of moves. Everything that was just really amazing. So once again, I would like to congratulate all of you for finding it and receiving the Morphy head. We can take it away now. But yeah, really an amazing game, and one of you can see that one of the reasons why Magnus Carlsen is inspired by Daniil Dubov. He always plays a really creative chess, and his games are always just full of fireworks. So yeah, that's the game. I don't know how Germany fared against Russia, as one game was still being played, Vitigov versus Nisipeanu. So I don't know how that game ended on board one. I'm sure it was a very interesting game as well, but we'll probably check out one more game from this round. So we're gonna check out the standings. So once again, I do hope you enjoyed it. I would like to thank Tony Moat Guitar for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. Tony Moat has been one of the first contributors to the channel ever since I started, so I'm very happy to see that you are still enjoying the show. Thank you, sir. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of the World Official Random Championship, continuing to check up nice games like this one from the European Team Championship, and of course checking up on your suggestions. So thank you all, I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.